Right then guys, it is PSL here for my first commentated video on F1 2018. Well, at least the first one that's actually going to be uploaded. And I'm here for a revisiting of a topic, a race, which I ran on F1 2017. And that race is a classic cars race around Suzuka Short, a multi-class classic cars race. Now obviously, this race was designed to be interesting. The brand new short circuits combined with the brand new classic cars, all of them racing around this short circuit. And we couldn't even complete the first corner before something happened. And obviously, when you've got cars from different years racing against each other, you do have to expect incidents. But when you've got cars from different classes racing against each other, obviously it's not really going to be the cleanest of races, because you've got cars ranging from the 2010 Red Bull all the way back to this, the 1988 McLaren. And obviously when the two cars race against each other, it doesn't really work out. The 2010 Red Bull, the quickest car around this circuit, retired. Now this is... in fact, it is definitely one of my teammates, well, my only teammate in this race, being spun around by the 2008 McLaren. And obviously, when the conditions get worse, the racing doesn't get any better. There is the 2008 McLaren trying to lap me, but just skidding off circuit. Even when the safety car came out, the race didn't get any less destructive. It just, honestly, that crash is still truly preposterous. 95 Ferrari, massive train of cars behind him, pulls off to retire, and that is, in fact, the 2008 McLaren did get involved in quite a lot of these incidents. There's myself and my teammate running wide. That's my teammate definitely being hit by another 2008 McLaren. Well, the 2008 McLarens certainly had an eventful race. Anyway, that was F1 2017, this is F1 2018, and as you can see we've got exactly the same preset weather, sunny, light rain, heavy rain, back to sunny. The same time progression, we're starting at sunrise with the time progression speed at ×5. The car I'll be driving is one of the new classic cars, it's a 2009 Brawn. Partially because in last year's video I drove the 96 Williams and I spent a lot of time being lapped. Whereas this year, I'd rather be lapping people, that's more fun. Anyway, you can see the AI difficulty level there is 105. The number itself is irrelevant, all you need to know is that I don't often run 105, that's slightly higher than I normally run. Fantastic pass from a Ferrari there, this was a great race, but then I realised it had some issues, so I had to start it again with 110 AI. Again, the number itself is irrelevant, all you need to know is that I don't run 110 AI on this game, and I very, very rarely ran it on F1 2017. Anyway, as you can see there, the 95 Ferrari back again for this race. We've got 1970s cars as well, brand new cars, slower ones than we saw in F1 2017, so as you can imagine this race is going to be, there's going to be more lappings going on, especially as we've got a 2003 Williams. What a car that is. I think potentially the quickest car in a straight line. Certainly it's another one of the V10 monsters. Now these are the practice results. The 2010 Red Bull quickest, I was second in the Brawn. Now I didn't do qualifying because, well, as we go down to the bottom, you get people such as the 91 McLaren driver who get held up and can't set a clean lap, so that's not really a fair result, so I didn't do qualifying, so the game just sorted out the grid itself. But the range in lap times is astonishing, because to accommodate all of those people, excluding the 91 McLaren driver who obviously got involved, well, he got held up. If you exclude him, instead of needing a 107% rule for all of those cars to have successfully qualified, you would need a 132% rule. That should give you an idea on the range of pace of these cars, and the 5 lights are coming on for the classic cars Suzuka Short Grand Prix. And the lights are out and away we go. And it's been a clean start so far, but I imagine it won't take long before we get an instant. Heading now down towards the first corner. Are we all going to get through it cleanly? I think we all will. The 2003 Williams has already got one over on me, but look at that. I am ahead of the 2010 Red Bull. He's trying to get past, but he can't. That is the only car which, around this circuit at least, that's quicker than the one I'm in. And I just went right around the outside of one of the V10 powered Ferraris, the 2002 Ferrari, and down the inside of the 2003 Williams, proving that really this circuit, it isn't all about power. But looking in the wing mirrors, I can see the Williams scream on past. This is the problem I've got. The 2009 Brawn is the second quickest car around this circuit, but it is much more difficult for me to overtake the V10s than it is for the V10 cars to overtake me. As you can see, I'm just stuck on the back of that Williams, can't really find a way past, and I think I'll be able to go down the inside of him round the final corner like I did on the first lap, but that's too late. That's way too late, because he's not that far back, because there hasn't been that much of an opportunity for me to pull ahead. And there you go. That's the 2003 Williams, probably the most powerful car on the grid, and he just screamed back past me. But already, we've done 2 laps. 2 laps done of this incredibly short circuit. We're now on the 4th lap of the race. I'm still ahead of the Williams, still ahead, but there you go, he's back past me. He's gone deep though into the first corner, so have I, but I'm going to try and hold it around the outside, side by side with the Williams, and we're heading towards the start of the S section. I've got the inside, then the outside, but I think I have made that move stick. A replay on board with the Williams. You can see how far back he is, but you can also hear the V10. That is the sound of a powerful engine. And no sooner does he get alongside me, is he ahead of me, but it was just the braking that let him down. Side by side though, he has the outside, then he's got the inside. I did pinch the front of his car there, no contact, but that was close. That was close. He so nearly repassed me. And we've got, well, I'm already about to lap someone already. What are we on, the 5th lap of the Grand Prix? Hang on. There's 3rd place and 2nd place. And I've just passed them. That was the 1972 Lotus holding up 3rd and 2nd places. So now I'm in 2nd place. In 1st is a 2004 Ferrari, one of the V10 cars, so that's going to be fun to overtake. Now this isn't a replay of what we saw, but this is basically the same thing. We've got, is that the McLaren? I believe so. I think that's the 1976 McLaren, because of course we've now got the 1970s cars, and as expected, they're causing issues. There's the 2004 Ferrari screaming on by, the 96 Williams is held up, the 92 Williams has got past. There's me getting past both of them and the 92 Williams. Now the fortunate thing about this is that because the 1970s and early 80s car, because there is a brand new 80s car, the 1982 McLaren, because they're all so slow and so much slower than the cars we've already got, that you can they just are a nuisance to have out on circuit. In fact, this is the aforementioned 82 McLaren holding up the 2004 Ferrari. I've gone off the circuit to try and get past this guy, but look at him holding up myself and the Ferrari. He's let me go first, and that is how I have taken the lead of the Grand Prix. We're on lap 16 of the race. Time does fly, doesn't it? But then again, each lap is only about 30 seconds long. This is technically a 100% distance race. In the game, it's a 100% distance, but for this to be a true 100% distance race, the actual race distance would be 136 laps. That's how short this circuit is. Anyway, here we are with a replay of what's happened. Now this is the issue, is the AI in this game, they are better than they were on F1 2017 when it comes to racing against yourself as a player, but AI racing AI is taking a step back. And I know this is a preposterous scenario, but the fact the 2004 Ferrari was held up by the 82 McLaren with blue flags in force. For what, half a lap? That's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm now in the lead. As you can see, he did catch up to me down the start-finish straight, and even through the S section he has caught up, because that is one heck of a quick car. But it does get slowed down a lot when it's held up by the brand new Class 3 classic cars, and that's how I was able to build a gap, because I could get past the lapped cars much easier than the 2004 Ferrari. And look at this! Up ahead you've got the 2010 Red Bull, the car I was most concerned about, and I'm about to lap him. Round the outside of the 2010 Red Bull, virtual safety car is out, just as I was about to lap the 2007 Ferrari. So it's about time. I'm amazed it's taken this long for the safety car to come out, and it is the 88 McLaren that has caused it. Now this car was the main nuisance in the previous race, but now it's not even close to the slowest car on the grid. He is coming up though to the 78 McLaren. Contact! Heading towards the first corner. That's karma, arguably, because that is basically a role reversal and a repeat of what happened on F1 2017 when the 88 McLaren was being lapped by the 2010 Red Bull. This time it was the McLaren that was doing the lapping on the 78 Lotus, and he turned in there. That was avoidable from his perspective. He did turn into the Lotus. I appreciate there were blue flags, but at the same time that Lotus couldn't really just vaporise. Anyway, lapped the 07 Ferrari now that the virtual safety car is no longer in force, and what was that? And I think someone's just rear-ended me. What on earth was that all about? So there's yellow flags, and I think someone's retired because of my doing, but I was behind a group of cars and then they just slowed down. So I've got a bit of front wing damage, and look at this group of cars I was behind is because they've come up to, I think that's the 91 McLaren there. I've got front wing damage. We saw the 07 Ferrari in the background pull off to the side. I just lapped the 2007 Ferrari. Now I had no time to react to the slowing down cars. The 2007 Ferrari did though. He moved to the left hand side, but so did I. I moved to try and pass everyone, and he moved just to try and avoid the crash that was going on up ahead. The 2006 Renault, that's what happened. In fact, actually, the 2002 Ferrari is slowing down. I think it's because of that collision that I caused. There were yellow flags, so the 2002 Ferrari didn't want to overtake under yellows, but I did and didn't get a penalty. So, I don't know what that's all about. There's one of the Ferraris, and there's another Ferrari getting past me. This is the issue, is I don't have a straight line speed advantage, not even close. My advantage over that Ferrari was through the corners, but I've got front wing damage, so the one trait I had to my advantage has been snatched away from me. But then again, this always can happen. That is the 72 Lotus, the oldest car on the grid, holding up the 2004 Ferrari, and that is me back into the race lead. A few laps later, it started raining. We knew this was going to happen. Of course, I scripted the weather as such. So, that was a bit dicey. I locked up in the pit lane and nearly went into that wall. As we know, because I did this race with the modern cars on F1 2017, and Max Verstappen did basically exactly that. It started raining, locked up heading into the pit, except on that occasion he did retire. Exit the pits, and okay, that was expected, but unfortunately, because I had to have my front wing replaced, it meant the Ferrari was able to jump me in the pits. It's a shame we morphed into one at that point, but anyway, wet conditions. This, suddenly, everything we knew about the pace of the cars, that changes. For example, the 2006 Renault. Pretty quick in dry conditions, but very, very competitive in wet conditions because it's got traction control, oodles of downforce, and is just such an easy car to drive. One thing which hasn't changed is the fact that the 2004 Ferrari is still being held up by the 1970s cars, and I think that is a Ferrari. I think that's one of the 1970s Ferraris as well, so the Italian mark isn't helping itself out here in the race. Blue flags, what is going on here? That is the 78 Lotus and another classic car holding me up, so I've got to get past him and just, oh no, nope, slid off from the race lead, slid into the gravel. That's the thing is, this car, pretty easy car to drive in the grand scheme of things, loads of downforce, as were the regulations, blown to fuses I think as well, that was what made this Brawn so quick, I think, but in wet conditions it's still not an easy car to drive. It doesn't have traction control, unlike the 2004 Ferrari, and I would imagine that he probably closed up. I'm just seeing in the background, is he there? I think that was the 2004 Ferrari. He certainly did close up on me because of my mistake, and that was a mistake, well, it was probably provoked by the fact I was lapping people. There's the 96 Williams, the car I drove in F1 2017, coming up to one of the Ferraris and making contact around the first corner. That's the second Suzuka Short Grand Prix in a row in which a 96 Williams has spun around on the first corner. Except this time he was the quicker car on this occasion. What is he doing? I guess he stopped basically to let the 92 Williams through. And the juddery camera, good old version 104 of the game. I have no idea whether those camera angles were fixed in patch 1.05. But yes, anyway, here's a replay of what's happened on board from the Ferrari. I just wanted to get an on board because look at how retro, I'm not sure if retro is really the best word, but look at that. Look how simple it is. Steering wheel, dials, that's it. There's no buttons, no DRS button, there's no nothing. No computers on board, that's just, you know, an engine and four wheels, which would explain why it is so slow. What is going on here? I can't see a thing. Somehow I got through without making contact with anyone, but I was driving blind. If the driver name tags weren't there, how would I have known where anyone was? Well, let's have a look. There was quite a few cars actually. There were a few cars from my class. There's the Red Bull, the Williams. They're all being held up though. In fact, that's a bit of front wing that's gone off. I think that might have gone off. Maybe the Red Bull, maybe the McLaren, but I think one of those cars lost a bit of their front wing on the back of the 1970s car. And of course that camera angle working as smoothly as ever. Anyway, the 1972 Lotus, what a car. The oldest car on the grid. Beautiful as well, but not really especially competitive, even against the other cars in its class. Never mind when compared to the 2002 Ferrari and the 2010 Red Bull. Minor contact, but that is enough to spin this car around. And no, don't stop there. Oh, thank God that 92 Williams driver looked far enough ahead. But in these wet conditions with that little amount of downforce that Lotus has, in fact I think that was one of the cars to pioneer front and rear wings, but it's got such little downforce and the front tyres offer so little grip. Small amount of contact from the Red Bull, completely innocent, well, not intentional, but small contact, spun the Lotus around. As far as I was concerned, a fairly clean race. The last 18 laps didn't really pose much interest on my perspective, and I've won the Suzuka Short Grand Prix. Shallow victory though. I mean, I lapped every single driver at least once, except the 2004 Ferrari, but look at the gaps come the end. And as we scroll down the order, well, we will do in a second, you'll see I lapped the Class 3 cars an absurd amount of times. 10 laps. I lapped the 72 Lotus and also the 76 McLaren 10 times. I lapped them 10 times in a 53 lap race. Well, it was only a 43 lap race for those guys, but wow, if that doesn't explain to you the difference in pace between the very quickest cars in Class 1 and the very slowest cars in Class 3, then I don't know what does. Also, only 2 retirements. That is surprising, given the track rat, given the fact that there were changeable conditions, given the varying pace between all the cars. Only 2 retirements. But what I think this race has demonstrated is that the AI on this game, they have been praised, and rightly so, because the AI, when racing against you as a player, as a human player, they're brilliant. They're better than they were in F1 2017. Not massively. It's not a revolution or an evolution like people are making it out to be, because I think actually F1 2017, there was a patch during that game's life cycle which really did improve the AI. On this game though, the AI, when racing against you, are better. Definitely, no doubt about it. When racing against themselves, it's taken a step backwards. The AI in this game is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because, well, as we saw, the AI just don't really overtake each other. They struggle to lap themselves. Never mind overtake one another. That 04 Ferrari should not have finished that far behind me. This is the thing, I was on the maximum difficulty level. That's irrelevant, but the fact of the matter is I was on a much higher difficulty setting than I normally run on the game, and yet it was still easy. I was unchallenged for the entire last third or so of the Grand Prix. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video, whatever that happens to be. I do know what my next video on F1 2018 will be, and it will probably give you a better idea of what the AI are like when they race against each other, and the slightly sad state of it currently in this game. So guys, I'll see you in my next video.